Some things from the past are a little difficult to believe. Now don't get me wrong, even today many attractions revolve around animals, and some even focus on crocodilians, like the somewhat controversial Gatorland in Orlando. Now, Gatorland opened many years before Disney World came to Florida, but we are going to go even further back in time, and to a different part of the US. Our story begins in Hot Springs, Arkansas, with a man named Joseph Campbell, aka Alligator Joe. Now, in 1906, Joe had apparently amassed a small fortune. How? Well, by capturing hundreds of reptiles and putting them on display. It seemed to be a good business model for the time, but Alligator Joe wanted to go bigger, and in 1907, he met Francis Ernest. Francis had an ostrich farm in LA and convinced Joe to move the alligator park beside him. In 1907, they moved the reptile exhibit by railcar to Southern California, and the alligator farm was opened. Though it did function as a farm, using the alligator skin to make things like handbags, it was also a place tourists could visit. And what would they see inside? Well, for 25 cents admission fee, a visitor could see 20 different alligator ponds, arranged by size. This was to stop the big ones from eating the smaller ones. If watching alligators in the respective ponds wasn't entertaining enough, there was also alligator wrestling, with alligators that were allegedly over 100 years old. But if that wasn't enough, some alligators were even trained to perform tricks, like climb up slides and then slide down them. For those looking for a more hands-on experience, you could ride an alligator, or have one pull you on a cart, or just sit on one for a photo op. Apparently, people even had their pets pose with the alligators. Sometimes they would have their Galapagos tortoise named Humpy race against an alligator, with both the tortoise and the alligator having a child riding on their backs. Apparently, Humpy won every time. Of course, when the kids weren't riding an alligator, they could go into the enclosures with very little ones, and they could even go into enclosures with some bigger ones too. If you were feeling really adventurous and felt like going for a dip, you could even go swimming with the gators, or have a relaxing picnic with them. Yes, this is a real photo. You could even feed baby alligators milk for some reason, and if that wasn't enough, you could even buy a baby alligator for $2.50. Alligators were even packed up and shipped around the country. I wonder how many survived the journey. The park, or farm, or whatever, was quite popular in its day, with 130,000 visitors a year in its heyday. Even famous people like Lucille Ball, Anthony Perkins, and even Albert Einstein visited the park. And that's not all. Some of the gators even became famous, appearing in films like King Solomon's Mines, The Adventures of Kathleen, The Happiest Millionaire, and many Tarzan movies. Of course, the park had some issues. I mean, you can probably already guess by what people would do with the gators that they weren't always treated that well. They were also kept in cramped enclosures with a lot of concrete and shallow water. There were also some problems with people trying to steal the alligators. The site was seemingly a hotspot for local college fraternity pranks, where people would try and hop the fence after dark and take an alligator. As you can imagine, some people were bitten. The thing is though, the alligators didn't need the help of frat pranksters to escape. They could do that all by themselves. On occasions when the park would flood, people would find alligators in their garden or swimming pool, and that wasn't the only complaint locals had. Some people didn't enjoy the noise of 1,000 alligators bellowing in B-flat in the middle of the night. So, what happened to the park? Well, in 1953, they moved to Buena Park and changed their name to California Alligator Park. It was in their second location that they became the first to breed multiple species of crocodiles, including the first to breed Nile crocodiles in the Western Hemisphere. The park attendance would begin to decline in the next few decades, and they closed in 1984. And the animals? They were moved to a private resort in Florida. I don't know much about what happened to the animals after that, but I hope they had a good life in their new home. Anyway, thanks for watching.